to aged care, which you referenced a moment ago. Now, more than 400 aged care residents have died of COVID since the beginning of January. There are active outbreaks in about half of residential aged care facilities as we sit down to lunch today. And the booster program for aged care is running behind where it needs to be. Now, a second ago, you acknowledged the problems in aged care in the first wave. Obviously, there were hundreds of deaths then. And you presented aged care as a lesson learned. Doesn't this suggest that the lessons haven't been learned? And in terms of taking responsibility, that was an important theme in your speech. You've got to know what you're responsible for and what you're not. Aged care is absolutely the responsibility of the Commonwealth. You fund it and you regulate it. So why do these errors keep being repeated for a cohort of Australians who are frail, vulnerable and at risk during the pandemic?
Well, thanks, Katherine. As of now, let me say this first. Every single death, some 3,750 of Australians that we have lost, is a terrible loss. Every life saved is a great blessing, as I said also. In the course of this pandemic, many lives have been lost. In the course of this pandemic, many, many lives have been saved. That is the reality of a global pandemic, and I think Australians understand that. You made some points regarding the booster shots. 99% of aged care facilities, I'm advised, have been and will be around today, will have been visited to offer those booster shots. We have not mandated the taking of boosters by aged care residents. We have for aged care workers, but not for aged care residents. Some 61%, as you know, and every death is tragic, in aged care have been with those residents who are in end-of-life care. And the balance also have other serious underlying health conditions. And so that creates a further challenge. We've had it from memory around 566 deaths in aged care since our first Omicron case. In the first terrible wave we had back in 2020, there were more, but I suspect there'll be more now, and that is terrible. And so the booster shot, we encourage people to take. But where families have decided and where individuals have decided not to take it, then it's not for me or the government to tell them about the decisions they're making in that very sensitive time of their life. I've been in that situation, you may have too. They're sensitive situations where families make decisions. So I'm going to honour and respect their decisions. With aged care, with the boosters, as I said, 99% out there and visiting, and they'll be going back again and encouraging them to get those booster shots. And in the outbreaks themselves, the provision of the testing kits that have been an important part, the acquiring of the additional PPE to support the aged care facilities, I think has been incredibly important in what we've been able to do. There's some 12.8 million masks, 5 million gowns, 14.7 million gloves, 3.6 million goggles and face shields, and 7.7 million rapid antigen tests have been sent out there over the course of 2021 to aged care facilities. So they're the tools you have to try and ensure that these outcomes don't occur. And that's what we're doing each and every day. People going into these facilities, where it's the aged care workers, those running the centres or others, making sure we get the workforce. But it's very difficult and it's very challenging. And so we're going to keep fighting away on this and trying to save every life that we can.
Bill Curry.